Namaskar. On behalf of PYSSUM family, I, Shweta Kumari, welcome you all to our online awareness series on the theme Changing the Perception, Autism and Society. Today is the third and final day of our program, and we feel privileged and humbled at the same time to have three distinguished personalities in our panel today. I thank Dr. Fridolini Fritz, Ms. Patricia Osbourne, and Dr. Ashokumar Banskota for graciously accepting our request to speak today. For those who are new to PYSSUM or joining our events for the first time, PYSSUM or Paramhans Yoganand Society for Special Unfolding and Molding is a voluntary based non-profit organization based in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh that has been working to help and serve individuals with intellectual disabilities since, since its inception in the year 2005. Here in PYSSUM, we have a twofold approach to specialized care and holistic developments of our angels. PYSSUM envisions an inclusive society on the grounds of spiritual discipline. Today, when scientific research is establishing the benefits of yoga and meditations to the lives of people with intellectual disabilities, Team PYSSUM feels humbled that since its foundation, we have followed how to live principles and teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda to benefit individuals with special needs. In PYSSUM, we have a beautiful tradition to commence any event with a prayer. So I request everyone to join me and repeat after me. Divine Mother, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om, peace, Amen. Now, I would like to introduce our guest of honor, Dr. Fridolini Fritz, who is joining us from Zurich, Switzerland. Dr. Fritz is the managing director of Finesse AG in Zurich. He holds a doctorate in law and is a long-time yoga practitioner. He is deeply interested in Indian culture and spiritual philosophies of life. He is a promoter of how to live principle of inclusive education and the disability sector. We welcome you, sir, and request you to say a few words.
Thank you for the invitation. Hello to everybody. As you already mentioned, I'm Swiss. I'm from background entrepreneur with a lawyer background, as you already has mentioned before. Why I probably join here is that I'm a board member for over 20 years now for quite a renowned institution for disabled children and youth. This institution has been founded over 150 years ago by a gentleman who had no children. Actually, he was a farmer, a wealthy farmer, and his idea was to do something for disabled children. It started very humbly. Now the operation is yearly budget is over 200 crore. We have maybe 150 children, youth, which are partly residential and partly live at home. We have also about 150 people, staff. So this is the institution in facts and figures, if you want to say. The aim of the institution now, of course, in the 150 years, there have been a lot of changing, is financially helped by the government mainly, and to a little amount by private sponsors. And the aim is to bring the intellectually disabled children which have at least some intellectual possibilities to give them the skills that they have a chance to live at least partly on their own. So this is actually to put it in a nutshell, the goal or the aim of the activities of this society. And of course, there is a lot of expertise, especially in the field of how to train children. In comparison to PYSSUM, which impressed me very much, I think the impact is more, or we deal more with the skills. And what I have seen from Anju and her team, they are perfect in giving these children, of course, also skills, but primarily the love and acceptance. Of course, this exists too in our institution, but if I make a comparison, then you see it and you can compare it in budget-wise. So children in PYSSUM costs about 2% of a children's cost in Switzerland in our institution. And of course, the means and all these differ very much, but the idea of the people behind, of course, the aim is somehow similar, after all, to help these children which have in this life, if we look at it from a spiritual perspective, the great need for love and acceptance. So this is, in my view and in the view of our guru, the main ingredient someone has to have if they want to work in such an organization, because this is the reason why these souls came with these challenges into this world again. So this is just a short introduction. Of course, everybody feels free to ask questions afterwards if you like, but now you have a little background of my person and the institution which I'm in the board of. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words, and it's really inspiring what you are doing, and thank you for the kind words that you have said for PYSSUM. You inspire us to improve and do better in our everyday work that we do in PYSSUM. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now I would request Mrs. Anju Mishra, Director PYSSUM, to say a few words and introduce our expert speaker for today, Ms. Patricia Osbourne. Over to you now.
Thank you, Shweta, for giving me this opportunity to introduce Ms. Patricia Osbourne. Ms. Patricia Osbourne, known among her friends as Pat, is the director of the Autism program at the Center for Development and Disability, CDD, University of New Mexico, USA. She has voluntarily been part of all our training programs since 2007 through telehealth mode on autism and other areas of developmental disorders. Pat, now over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That was just beautiful. And, you know, I have a PowerPoint planned, but I really, I think first I would just like to speak, and then I'll refer back if I need to. You know, we're all a mirror. We're all a mirror. And as I watched him, the thing that just touched me so much was remembering when I first came to India and how many special needs I had when I first came to India. I could not cross the street. I had no confidence. I couldn't go into a market. and I was taken by the hand. I was lovingly shown that, you know, you will be safe. You will be safe with us. It's okay. Anju's smiling because she remembers the first time they took us to the market, and she assigned a teacher to each of us because she knew we needed that. And by my last journey to India, I was crossing the street. I was putting my hand up. I was stopping traffic. I was, you know, I was right there. So, you know, we're all a mirror. We're not, none of us are that special or that different. We all have needs, and we all need people to come behind us and give us those little pushes and just the support. I'll tell you just a little bit about the work that I've done, that I'm doing, and some of the things that I'm really excited about now that we're doing. I work at a very large center, and I'm the associate director there. And we are a university center of excellence. And there is a network of these across the US, across America. And they were developed way back in the 60s, long time ago, to really look at issues of intellectual disability and for individuals who had just differences, because at that time we had nothing in the US for those individuals. It was actually started by President Kennedy, our president in the 60s, who actually had a sibling. And so that's how our centers all began. I've been at our center since 1990. In 1990, the field of autism was just really exploding. You know, we still didn't have a lot of individuals with autism that would come to us for help, but that didn't last very long. We started a very small clinic to begin seeing individuals. As Naval said, I'm a speech language pathologist by training. And so I always just really enjoyed working with children with autism, with children who had challenging behaviors, because I enjoyed the communication part of it. We expanded greatly over the years because of the need, which has been so exciting. And now we have several clinics. We have early childhood clinics. We have expanded into adult work. You know, when you've been around since 1990, the children that you saw who were 3 are no longer 3. They are adults, right? And so I've been able to kind of grow up with the families and the children in my profession that I worked with initially. And so you see new needs, right? You see new things that individuals need. You know, initially, it's all about early intervention. I always considered myself an early intervention person, an early childhood person. But as the children that I knew were growing, I was seeing that they really needed other things. They needed transition services. They needed schools to know how to teach them in the way that they could best learn. They needed support as young adults to learn how to make friends and learn how to socialize and learn how to get jobs. And then what has been, I think, very exciting for me in the last several years is that we've sort of looked around our state in New Mexico, in the US, and thought, why is it that we are asking all of these individuals with disabilities and with autism to conform to the way we want them to be, to learn the way we want them to learn? What about society?
Thank you so much, Miss Patricia Osbourne, that you gave such an inspiring talk. Like, we were all amazed. Like, our today's theme was experiences moving towards an inclusive world, and the kind of work you are doing and the experience shared by Mr. Fritz, we are certainly moving towards an inclusive world. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
You all are enriched today. Now I would request Dr. Navalpan, Chairman PYSSUM, to say a few words and invite our valedictory speaker, Dr. Ashokumar. So over to you, sir.
Good evening, and I welcome each one of you. Though the welcome has already been done, I express my gratitude that so many people have participated. And can you imagine, at the moment, 3 continents are connected. Patricia Osbourne, Pat has connected from US. Dr. Fridolini Fritz has connected from Europe. And we are from Asia.
And 4
Dr. Ashok
countries.
Banskota. Dr. Ashok Banskota is from Kathmandu. Though Pat talked about faith, schools, churches, synagogues, accepting these special need individuals, our Guru Preceptor Paramahansa Yogananda writes, "Thy divine light is hidden in all, waiting to shine forth under the proper conditions, keeping of good company, and ardent desire for self-betterment." When we started PYSSUM, we had this thought. And the very basic idea of starting PYSSUM, PYSSUM, Paramahansa Yogananda Society for Special Unfolding and Molding. The special unfolding and molding is the spirit waiting to shine forth. And that's what each one of the individuals who are working in the field of healthcare, disability are trying to do. Dr. Ashok Banskota. I met him as a young boy in one of the spiritual programs at Ranchi. And I never knew that he has been running such a huge hospital. And that hospital is doing such a commendable job. But the spirit that flows and connects Fritz, Ashokji, Pat, Kate, Jane, and Dr. Samir Dalwai, and then PYSSUM workforce. The same, the spirit of service, unconditional love, and joy that we are trying to give to all individuals with special needs, whether they are intellectually challenged or physically challenged. I welcome Dr. Ashok Banskota to talk more about his work, and I'm sure there is a lot to learn from his work in Kathmandu. Dr. Ashok Banskota.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, good morning to all my dear friends, wherever you are. I'm speaking from Kathmandu, Nepal. I want to initially express my thanks to Swami Sudananda ji of YSS and Novel for asking me to participate in this special program on autism. My background is that I am an orthopedic surgeon working in Nepal. I trained in India and America, and I have been working with underprivileged children. Are you hearing me? Underprivileged
Yes,
children
Yes,
with
sir.
musculoskeletal disability for the last 36 years. There are a lot of common parallels with all kinds of disabilities, be they autism, like mental retardation, or musculoskeletal. A lot of children with musculoskeletal disabilities that we encounter are socioeconomically deprived children who have little or no access to proper timely care, and the challenge of seeing through their growth period of certain problems that require regular follow up is extremely challenging. And we chose as our target group underprivileged, socioeconomically deprived children with musculoskeletal disabilities under 18 years of age. So we asked a lot of trouble to come on our hands here. And briefly with stories and all, I'll just take you through my experience. It's been my privilege and honor actually to have been continuously at the helm of this special journey. I'm not a rocket scientist, neither am a brilliant man with a big plan. I'm just an ordinary orthopedic surgeon. I never had any master plans or any large resources to start my work. There were many ups and downs, but we have been meeting the challenges, and every year we seem to do better and provide services for more and more children. This is the picture of our meditation center in Kathmandu, where we have group activities, and the inspiration behind all my work, like most of us in this conference, is our Guru Paramhamsa Yogananda. As part of our activities at this center, besides meditation activities, we have charity programs and services that we, cater to for different communities in the society. We try to help out with education of children, and we have developed a Paramahamsa Yogananda Society social integration program. We have provision for clothing and other supplies. We also actively participate in disaster relief programs. So this is all under the banner of our Gurudev. Now, Manbadur Rai is a 16-year-old boy. You can see he's very sad. He crawls on the ground. His knees show a lot of calluses. He can just crawl and hop around. And till this age of 16 years, he has had no access to a doctor. And fortunately, our community-based hospital services program, we run our program through hospital-based service, where we have a central medical facility that caters to all the inpatient requirements, surgery, prosthetics, orthotics, physiotherapy. And then we have a equally large non-hospital based program which has developed into a large community-based rehabilitation program, where we do screening clinics, follow-up clinics, awareness drives. We deliver appliances. We have developed some 4 or 5 small regional centers that do simple work. We train paramedical staff to continue this work, and we also collaborate and do some simple surgeries with some centers there. So Manbadur Rai was located by one of our CBR workers and then referred to the hospital. So he has untreated polio, and after a few surgeries, there he is. Look at the smile on his face. He's a confident young man standing on his legs for the first time. He went on to complete his education, became a school teacher and campaigner for disabled children, and he became an excellent ambassador for our hospital. The fellow went on to actually work, and recently there was a job vacancy for a social worker at our hospital, which he applied for and was taken in. So you can see there he's married, he has a little daughter. What a beautiful story, that is a comprehensive rehabilitation of a patient with a physical disability. There are a lot of conflicting realities. That's myself, nearly 40 years ago, when I was just a young graduate back from America. I don't know why I'm smiling, because I had so many problems on my hands. I was facing, patients with poverty, illiteracy, there were social taboos, there was always political instability, and the problems that we were treating came late with complex presentations, complications, and lot of problems could have been prevented. And because of this kind of presentation, the treatments became expensive, long-term, requiring much expensive technology that was not readily available. So slowly through these last 37 years, I have struggled. And when we started the hospital, it was a very simple setup, no big edifice. I just thought that I have to get the work going. Patients need service. Here I am ready to sacrifice and, give my time. So I started off in a very simple setup with used equipment, extremely understaffed. I was the only doctor. I used to work 24/7, but it has paid dividends. And this is where the hospital now stands, about 15 kilometers outside of Kathmandu on a hilltop with a beautiful location. We have very organized services. We have a workshop on the premises where we manufacture our own cost-effective appliances. We have 6 operating rooms. I have developed a team of doctors and paramedical staff that can deliver very high quality care. Training and education is an integral part of what we do. So this is really a great divine gift from our guru. HRDC stands for Hospital and Rehabilitation Center for Disabled Children. And on occasions, when the monks visit Nepal, one of their actually pilgrimages is visiting HRDC, where they distribute sweets to the children. Here we see Swami Nirvananandaji and Swami Chaitanyanandaji on one of these visits here. Nepal is a country of about 30 million people. 80% is rural population. The per capita income is, about $700, and the disability in the under 15 age group is nearing about 27%. So amongst the disabilities, the physical disability accounts for actually a large, part of the problem, 39% almost. Here is Koom. He's a young boy with a special type of muscular disability, which was not addressed, and he crawls on the floors. And at some point in time, all children his age call him an animal. You can see how saddened he is, and he's staying at home. And he stopped going to school because of the stigma that was involved here. But after our rehabilitation, CBR program identified him and brought him to the hospital through the expertise that is available in our hospital. Here he is walking for the first time, and you see the other picture here, confident boy. And we are supporting his education. And he comes at the top of his class and he says he wants to be a doctor who takes care of children with disability. So from there to there, it's at HRDC, disability is not an orthopedic issue only, it's also a social issue. Almost 30% of what we see is preventable. So there are sequelae of infections, burns, neglected, trauma, and this really creates a huge burden. And we did a study in epidemiology published in the World Journal of Surgery, which shows that, epidemiology of surgical admissions to our hospital, where its implications for prevention, treatment, and training of healthcare providers. So in this context, we have actually an ongoing training program where we continuously increase the pool of people. We train for others, we train our own staff, we give them refresher courses. I undertake postgraduate training of students. I have trained nearly 36 orthopedic surgeons who are working in different parts of Nepal. So in a country like Nepal, hospital-based services alone would never be adequate to ensure proper follow-up or identification of children with disability. So the challenges are enormous for patients who seek care. This is just an example to show you how patients travel to come to our field clinics. Some of them walk. This little girl that you see in the middle of the picture walked 7 hours, in her amputated leg with a stick just to be seen by our doctors. This little boy with his mother saw a crowd in one of our clinics, and she said she thought that we're distributing food, but the child did have some medical problems too. So we are a compassionate hospital. We looked after the patient, and there, after a few weeks with us, the child is smiling on the swing. And I don't know how to get rid of this. We do what is called a smile test. This is a child who is now ready to leave the hospital, and with a big smile on the face there. Let's see how we minimize that. There he is, the same child with a big smile on the face. That's our hospital's smile test. The community-based rehabilitation program actually is active through the length and breadth of the country. We have 5 satellite clinics. We do 150 days of field work per year. Maybe this is a little bit more now. About 70 field staff are continuously, keeping tab of what we do at the hospital. After hospital care is over, we have several staff in the satellite clinics, and we are continuously communicating with other organizations that work in the field to see where to launch our activities in the field, which include follow-up camps, awareness drives, school screening programs. And the field work consists of screening follow-up camp that see nearly 14,000 patients every year. And then the surgery that we do in the field is simple, safe, and we collaborate with several centers there and do the surgery. Now, this is just a bird's eye view of what goes on in the camp. We conduct camps in school buildings, primary health centers, wherever we find a good partner. So our staff get to work, screen, take histories, examine, repair appliances, give them appointment dates to come to the center where if it's required. And this is an example of a surgical clinic being conducted in Far East Nepal, where you can see me there doing something. And this is a view of the patients and the staff. You can see here in the right upper corner, patients waiting outside the hospital area for their turn in surgery. So we have been doing this fieldwork CBR program right from the very beginning. The type of children that we treat, they couldn't even sometimes afford a bus fare to come back for follow-up. So we have had to develop a system whereby we get to the patient and we make sure that whatever treatment is received at the hospital is not lost due to lack of follow-up. The logistical challenges are enormous. Many parts of Nepal are not easily accessible. Even though things are changing now, it's still not easy to get to places where we do some of our work. The work continues through the night sometimes, whenever there are large crowds of patients, we don't cancel, we just keep working. And you can see there is a little workshop created in the field clinic where we repair appliances and all that for patients. We don't lose any opportunity to educate the community about the awareness and the preventive aspects of disability. We do school screening programs to pick out problems that the community and the rural families are not aware of. So wherever there is a school in the community where we do camps, we do school screening and disability awareness. We have a workshop on the premises. I have had a workshop on the premises from day one because I couldn't rely on anybody else to deliver what I wanted. So our workshop is capable of producing cost-effective appliances that are very, very useful. Here is an example of a below knee prosthesis in a child with a bilateral amputation. This prosthesis costs about $25, each. Compare that with a carbon fiber, blade prosthesis, which would require almost $20,000. So any treatment that is very expensive, is not practical in our situation. We have to function with very limited resources, and we really have to see the rupee go very, very far. training and education, I started off single-handed. I have realized that developing a team is crucial for the continuity of this work. And right from the very beginning, I have been training people at all different levels, and this continues. And this training work is recognized both nationally and internationally. We participate in writing in textbooks related to our work in the English-speaking world, where our hospital and its work is pretty well known. We publish regularly, and I have had the opportunity to serve as a reviewer and editor in various journals. So another example, where a hospital with compassion, there's a little girl with a very severe skin problem called ichthyosis. She was languishing in a cowshed, without any care. She would be thrown some food, once in a while. And then the hospital, uh, you know, got involved. Our field workers brought her to the hospital. This was during the time of the earthquake, some years back. So with very compassionate nursing care and the use of lot of emollients and skin softening measures, there you can see how we're able to change her, look and confidence and smiling for the first time. And there she is with Dr. Bibek Banskota, who is my son, actually. My family and my son, who is also become an orthopedic surgeon, they play a very important role in both moral as well as financial support for the hospital in every way. So there he is with this patient. We put her to school. She's in school there. In my parents' name, I have established an education foundation for children like this. And you can see this is our same patient, happily, enrolled in school and pursuing her education. From there to there. So there are very few hospitals who have a school on the premises. We have a school on the premises. We have realized that, continuing education for children is extremely important. Children oftentimes learn their alphabets here. Some of them have given their final school exams here. The whole idea is to keep the children in touch with wherever they left off when they came into the hospital. Most of the children are in the hospital for 3 to 4 weeks. Some spend even months, because of the complexity of their pathologies. So we have 3 teachers here who provide, curricular training according to the government guidelines, and this hospital is on the premises. Our club food program is one of the largest in the world, and from a paradigm of where surgery was the main treatment, we have actually started the Ponseti treatment program, where non-surgical approach has been introduced, and paramedical staff have been trained to deliver this as effectively as doctors, and our 5 satellite clinics actually conduct this treatment very effectively. So at HRDC, we identify, we treat, we rehabilitate, we socially try to reintegrate the patient. We have a very vibrant child protection policy, and we have a disability-friendly hospital infrastructure. So the inclusive approach in the HRDC Club Food program. Club Food is one of the most common food deformities that we treat. We have decentralized the services to satellite clinics. Our paramedical workforce is trained to deliver basic casting, and we manufacture orthotics locally at our workshops. So food which is deformed like this becomes corrected with very simple plaster changes. If these treatments are not undertaken, the deformity becomes severe, and it is a big problem for especially girls, to move on in life. The disability when untreated becomes extremely severe and difficult to treat. Another story, Dukhi and Lalita, untreated club feet, and then our field worker identifies them, and this, you can see how poor the village children are. So they are brought to our hospital, they undergo treatment, the feet are corrected, and HRDC does not stop there. Despite its limited resources, we actually helped both Dukhi and Lalita, these brothers and sisters, to move on and become self-sufficient. We help Dukhi build a little cycle repair shop where he could, earn some money to make his living. We, able to find some funds to give Lalita to buy a few, goats to, rear, and so they became self-sufficient. The story goes on. We have Paramahamsa Yogananda Social Integration Fund, which helped in furthering the lives of these two patients who went on to get married. And Dukhi now is working in one of our clinics in southern part of Nepal, and he's playing an active role in our clubfoot prevention program in Lahan. So the devotees of our center sometimes visit the hospital and do some charitable work. Here you can see a large group of the devotees of the Kathmandu center visiting our hospital, and the children have been distributed comics which gives the entire story of our Guru's mission and life. So there are identified barriers to social participation in patients with disability, gender bias. Still, the male child is favored, for treatment or any kind of expense involved. The disability itself may be severe. There may be no places for them to be treated. Illiteracy is another factor. And then, of course, socioeconomic factor. So treating disability is an investment. It is not an expense. Another story, Lakshmi is a little girl who suffered burns to one of her legs at home. The village home is often have got an open fire like that, and parents are working in the fields and children get burned. Burn contractures are one of the not so uncommon problems that we treat. Here she is going to school. When her mother had time to carry her, sometimes she crawls back behind other children who tease her. And then she is isolated and, dejected in school. She's always at the end being pushed around. But everything changed for her when the hospital identified her, brought her, and through a very simple, stump revision, our orthotic prosthetic technicians got to work on her, measured her for a prosthesis, which was manufactured right at our hospital. And here for the first time, she's walking on her 2 feet, and there she's a confident girl. When she's back home, she's walking to school by herself and with the other children, participating in social activities, and back to work with a smile. So this is what we do. We take the child from there to there. But at the end, to close, I would say that all this work would never be possible without the inspiration of Gurudev. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I don't have words to thank you enough. The kind of inspirational talk and the way you have shared your journey with us. We all are so blessed and humbled to see the kind of work you do, the kind of transformation, the real transformation, the social integration, reintegration that you were talking about. That is a very crucial part of what we do in the disability sector, be it any kind of disability. And what I learned from today's session, that one of the most pertinent kind of disability is the kind of discrimination that is in our minds. So I'm sure all the participants must have been touched by your journeys, your stories. So thank you so much for sharing your experiences.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Now I'll invite Dr. Punita Manik, Secretary PYSSUM, to formally give a vote of thanks to our guests today. Ma'am, over to you.
Namaskar. I would like to begin with sayings of Paramahamsa Yoganandaji. As the vital rays of the sun nurture all, so should you spread rays of hope in the hearts of the poor and forsaken. Kindle courage in the hearts of the despondent, and light a new strength in the hearts of those who think that they are failures. When you realize that life is a joyous battle of duty and at the same time a passing dream, and when you become filled with the joy of making others happy by giving them kindness and peace, in God's eyes, your life is a success. On the concluding day of honoring the World Autism Awareness Day, I begin with thanking the project team, which took no time in accepting the challenging task of organizing the 3-day lecture series. We are so very grateful to Dr. Fritz, Ms. Patricia, and Dr. Ashok Banskota. All of you need a lot of appreciation and heartfelt thanks from all of us for taking no time in accepting our invitation and to bring awareness not only about autism, but also holistic and inclusive healthcare in general. We also express our heartfelt thanks to Ms. Shahnaz Zaidi and Dr. Samir Dalwai, whose participation and sharing of their personal experiences immensely enriched this series. I genuinely thank each one of you for your sincere participation with enthusiasm in all 3 days. Wishing you happy times. Be safe. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much to all for joining, to all the participants, to becoming a part of our 3-day online series and making it a huge success. I would like to inform that PYSSUM has its own YouTube channel in which every week we bring up new topics. You can see that here are some of the videos that are uploaded in the channel. So here most of the talks are in Hindi so that we can reach out. The idea behind that is we can reach out the masses, common masses who are not well versed with most of the materials that are available, mostly in English. So we are trying to simplify it and we are bringing it every week. So if you can visit our YouTube channel, it's simply PYSSUM. So you can visit and we would request you to like, share and subscribe, and you yourself can become an agent of awareness if you share this with your dear ones, your friends and family members. So thank you so much for joining today, and we will soon be coming with some other events with our experts to create more awareness and to inspire each other, to learn from each other. So thank you so much. If you wish to help us to support our cause either by volunteering or through financial means, there are some of the details that have been shared both in the chat room and the screen. So if you feel so, you can be a part of our journey. Thank you so much, and we invite you in advance for our upcoming future events. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for making it a success.